when you go out there to play, everyone has so much expectations on you, like what you had said. And if you don't perform, definitely things will be going south. You'll be like, okay, so everyone is just going to lecture me for not performing well. My team is going to lose. So it's like that negativity ends up eating you, and for the next game you just have this rage and be like, I need to compensate for the next game. But if they know how to deal with that loss or that bad performance at the first game, moving forward, they just need to be all positive, because the moment you go with that negativity, somehow it haunts you and you start making those silly mistakes again when you're in that craze.
Yeah, and we're going to be bringing Harry in to just talk to us more about how the cricket has been so far for him, what he thinks the biggest upsets have been, and obviously things to still look forward to, in as much as teams are still competing for the top 3 and top 4 spot, as number 2 is done for. We'll be bringing him in.
Yeah. Another thing before he comes in, I just saw this. Australia is down for 97 runs for 7 wickets in only 19.5 overs.
Not looking good at all.
And Michael Stark, he has been just taken out by Rashid Khan for 3 runs of 7 balls. That's something else right there.
Rashid Khan is not here to play games.
Going right there.
We must just forget about them, because there's just no ways that they'll even get just higher than 150 runs. So we'll just see about that. Yeah, so we'll have Harry just joining in right now, and just to talk to us more about that.
Sure.
Okay, just after this 1-minute break. Yes, and the man of the moment has joined us. We were just dissecting that match between Australia and Afghanistan. And of course, Afghanistan causing an upset for Australia, just denying them that that semi-final spot. Harry, thank you so much for joining us. What are your thoughts on this match?
It's amazing the way Afghanistan team has performed.
Yeah.
The boys coached by the Indian cricketer. So it's like really going well for the South Asian team. And it's going to be interesting to see when this Australia loses and makes the headlines tomorrow morning across all the papers.
And they will be everywhere.
Everywhere. And what are the Aussie fans going to, how they're going to react to it? And I think there will be celebratory scenes in Kabul tonight, fireworks.
Yes, my gosh, it's that good. It's that big.
That's right. And it's just like 1 hour from here by flight, 1 or 2 hours, and it's going to be the sky is going to lit up in Kabul tonight. It's going to be interesting.
So today, of course, is the first time that we're talking to you on the show. We have to get your views on the overall World Cup so far. What has been your biggest highlight? What's been, the players that you feel like impressed you? What's that team that really disappointed you? I don't think you also came into this World Cup anticipating that England will perform as badly as they did, especially for defending champions. I don't think you would have anticipated maybe Sri Lanka also being out of the tournament as well. But, teams like India, of course, on Indian soil, doing what they did in 2011 when they hosted the World Cup. Could this also be a year for them where they're winning it back home? We've seen this trend of teams that are hosting the World Cup knowing how to win it. We've seen it with England also hosting the World Cup and winning it. What are just your overall thoughts on this whole World Cup as a whole?
It's good. It's an interesting World Cup where the underdogs are like really playing well, especially Afghanistan. If you see the points table right now, India's got about 16 points and South Africa's got 12 points. So I think these two teams are definitely inside the
already. Yeah.
And then we got Australia, who's got 10 points, and Afghanistan, if it wins tonight, is going to be 10 points again.
10 points. Yeah.
So if it enters the table and enters the semis, it's going to be interesting. And I think New Zealand, no fault of theirs, will be out of the top four.
Absolutely.
So it's an interesting thing because last match, what happened? The lose method, and they lost out on the points.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see Afghanistan fighting with India maybe in the semis if that happens. And so I think India is going to the finals. If that happens, but it's going to be interesting
to see how it is.
Yes, it's a very interesting combination that's happening in the points table right now. Yeah.
And there seems to, I think in the last two remaining matches for the other teams, just looking at the lock table, Afghanistan win today's match. They moved to number 4 in the top 4 of that with 10 points. Now, if they remain on the top 4 spot, and they're going to play South Africa on Friday, I believe South Africa will also want to bounce back. And I think in the finals, it's number 1. In the semi-finals, it's number 1 up against number 4, right? So number 2, number 4. But if that's the case, then South Africa gets to face Afghanistan again in the semi-final. Then the match that they will be playing this Friday will be a practice for the semi-final. And again, South Africa will obviously just go into this match that looking to fix the mistakes that it been chasing. What have been your impressions or your thoughts on South Africa in the World Cup so far?
It's an interesting combination which is going to happen. South Africa has been really playing well.
Brilliantly so.
I would like to ask you what's happening with South Africa because they were underdogs. What do you think of your favorite team?
I think
a lot of politics. I heard, especially from people from South Africa, there's a lot of politics in the team and who's going to play at the top and in the board and all. But still, they've managed to come out as a good team.
And I love that. I don't know about the politics side of it, but I'm just loving that they're trying so hard to rise above it, and especially when you come into a World Cup and you're considered the underdog, that's when you have to perform and prove to people that you're not just there to add the numbers. South Africa just doing that brilliantly in that opening match against Sri Lanka, which I believe has really boosted their confidence. Then that's when they started just, performing as well as they did. I'm just betting first, winning most of those games, scoring 300 plus when they're betting first. And of course, I feel like there's just one thing that they need to work on, and that is the chase. Themba Bavuma said it in the match against India the other day when they lost, saying that we are aware that our problem is in chasing. And we're not just doing nothing about it. We're trying to work on it. And they understand what is at stake. They have to be that team from South Africa, especially this crop of players of this team this time around. They have to be those ones that they break that word that I hate to use, which they like using, the chokers in the semifinals. They would want to go a step further and just make it out of the semifinals into the finals this time around, whether they're going to play against India. It will be very interesting to see them if they're going to play against India, because I don't think there's a team that would like to lose the same team in the same tournament twice. So if that does happen, I think India has something coming for them.
I think I would love to see that match if that happens.
That would be brilliant.
Semis will be interesting.
Yeah.
Because I think that will make the picture very clear who's going to win the World Cup.
Exactly. Yeah. Plus, there's pressure. I feel like with this match between South Africa and India, it wasn't as exciting because these teams were already in the semi-final. They knew that we were in the semi-final, so they might have taken it as a friendly match. So now, when there's everything to play for in the semi-finals, you even see teams that are better chasing. So just expect the unexpected. That's what I can say, and that's what I think.
And I think if you see Ibrahim Zadran's 129 balls, it's an amazing score that he hit today.
For a 21-year-old.
For a 21-year-old, and also for a country which is, I think he must have seen the war most of his living life since 2001. We've seen the country in shambles, and they don't even have a proper ground and facilities.
Yeah.
So coming out of that, the boys, that life, the childhood that they've seen, and they're coming out and beating the best teams, the people who've got all the facilities. Australia's, Australians, England, Aussies, England, all the people who've got great teams, great sponsors. But kudos to the Afghanistan team.
I think if they do make it to the semi-finals, that will be the first time they do. And for a team like Afghanistan, who don't really have the facilities, like you're saying, just causing the biggest upset of the season, beating the defending champions earlier on in the tournament, coming into this match, beating another team that's hoping to make it to the semi-finals, they should be proud of themselves. You're speaking about Ibrahim, who I believe for me is the player to look out for in the next upcoming World Cup, especially for Afghanistan, just scoring that most important century that really boosted Afghanistan's run in today's match. That's the player to look out for me, I feel, for Afghanistan. And of course, they are just a game away from the semi-final, but their very first one. So it'll be interesting. I don't think they will also just want to let it end in the semi-finals. They will also want to take it a step further. And again, I will say that teams that are deemed to be the underdogs are teams not to undermine, because they've got everything to play for, especially a point to prove, knowing that everybody has written them off. So Afghanistan, if they do make it to the semi-finals, whoever they're going to be playing against, I don't think they're going to make it easy for the opposition team at all.
What you just said, that's what you're thinking. It's that you're talking about more like praising Ibrahim for being the youngest. Check how much damage he's doing, and he's a young person.
Yeah.
Moving forward, that means the next World Cup, Afghanistan will be still having the same type of players, and they'll be like having more experience because of the championship trophy which they're going to play for. So meaning they're going to make more damage moving forward then. Compared to like SA, I saw some article where it was saying Quinton is going to retire from the ODI. So does it mean the SA team will be now a little bit shaky? What do you think?
This is why when you see young players proving themselves either at the under-19 World Cup or under whatever underage they're playing for, proving themselves that they're ready to take on the first team. Take them there. It doesn't matter, are they 19, but do they have the qualities of of playing for the first team? So I think this is what Afghanistan did in this case. United talent from grassroots. If you see it, like we're saying about South Africa, if they do lose Quinton, of course he is retiring. He did say that he is retiring. So obviously now would be the perfect time to go grassroots. Let's check. This is where you bring in 20-year-olds, because they will be playing for like 8 more years. They're probably going to give you 2, 3, 4 World Cups at most. So that's what I think.
And what do you think?
I think Peacock is an interesting study, especially this World Cup. With almost like 550 runs. But what I think, what if the Kohli might, it's a chance that Kohli might surpass him, because he's got 542 runs already. Both of them played around 8 matches, and so it's going to be interesting to see who wins the most
runs
this World Cup. But anyway, both are excellent players, and kudos to. Have you heard any stories about him from South Africa? How about his life, or what about him? About his background?
I've met Quinton. I think it was, what year are we? 2023. Last year. I met him last year. They were training. I think it was some sort of camp. I was covering a story for them that side. He's so humble when you talk to him. He's so down to earth. So just seeing a player of that nature, just excelling at such a very big stage. What have I heard about him? I know that people are praising him. People are so happy for him. He knows that, the whole country is backing him up. So he has to perform, especially in his last one. He made so much emphasis on the fact that this is his last one, and he would like to bow out in. What better style than this? He's currently the best, the top run scorers in this tournament so far. And of course, I believe that he would want to close this chapter of ODI cricket in that way. Virat Kohli will be breathing down his neck, but he inside just just survive that pressure.
Yeah, because he's all. I wonder why is he planning to retire from the international
Yeah,
cricket? Because he's
international
just
only.
30 years. He's not even. I think Kohli is older than him. And,
Yeah.
so, what's the reason he's retiring so quickly?
I'm assuming I don't want to say pressure,
Mhm.
but sometimes they say a great dancer knows when to leave the stage. You leave when
Definitely.
like the crowd is still clapping, because
Yeah.
if you don't leave there, things might go down, and what are people going to remember you for? The
Yeah.
last games that you played. So to retire, having done so well at a World Cup, that for me makes sense. However, I feel like he could give it 4 more years, just play at the next World Cup and say that's your last one. But he just says, I am done with international cricket. I'm not for that anymore. But we South Africans are very proud of him, and I guess it will be so interesting, to get a chance to talk to him again and just to find out, the headspace that he's in, how this World Cup has been for him, and if he has achieved any goals that he had set personally for himself in this World Cup.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I'm
Yeah.
looking at the match tomorrow, England versus Netherlands. The bottom two guys in the ranking. Really, is the game tomorrow really going to make any difference, or it's just one of those who are finishing off the tournament and we're all picking our bags and going? What would you
I think
say?
it will be really great for England. If they manage to beat Netherlands, and if they don't, then it's going to be again a big
Oh,
game.
oh, he's not gonna like it. No, he won't like it
Because
at
I'm
all.
seeing here the both teams, their last matches they lost, so it's one of those
But
kind
it
of
is It is Netherlands in the last 5 matches. They won 2 of those, losing 3. England losing streak 5 matches in a row, losing those matches. So coming into this one, I feel like they would want to bow out of this tournament at least with some sort of dignity, and that will be a win against the Netherlands tomorrow.
considering both teams will be seeing them for the qualifiers. So
Mm.
I guess I don't know. It's one of those painful moments where they'll just play, or it's one of those dying. What to call this? They usually say the last kick of a dying horse moment.
Yeah, that matters the most. I mean, you also just looking at that table. I mean, it's not all done for, but for England it is, because I don't think they can still qualify for that championship trophy tour with only 2 points at the bottom of the table. Looking at the first 7 teams, with Bangladesh at number 7 with 4 points. So
Yeah.
England will have to win that match in order for them to stand a chance to compete for that championship trophy tour. I don't see it happening because you've got Sri Lanka as well. You've got Netherlands who also want to win that match.
Yeah.
So whoever that wins tomorrow, really, just like you say, it will be just that final kick, and it's all done for England if they lose that one.
Yeah, true. Because I'm also seeing here for Netherlands, they're currently on number 9.
Mm.
I've heard that the top 8, they're the ones who qualify straight to the World Cup. Then the bottom
So a
2,
championship trophy.
no, the champion one, it's the top 7. Then
Mm.
for the next World Cup, it's usually the top 8. They will never have to go through the way of going through the qualifiers. Then
Is it?
then the World Cup.
Yeah.
So for Netherlands, there's still a little bit of hope considering Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, they're all on 4 points. So it's a matter of them winning that game tomorrow, then they'll have 6 points. Then they know that they can be ahead of Bangladesh and Sri Lanka tomorrow. And
Hmm.
they'll be lucky enough to make it to the top 7.
I think that's all we will obviously be looking forward to. But I don't know if I feel good about that method being used, saying that the
Yeah.
top 8 teams will automatically qualify for the next World Cup.
Thing, but if we focus on this World Cup,
Yeah.
I mean, if you see the run rate, India and South Africa already got the top run rates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
2.4 and 1.3,
Mm.
and then followed by Australia's 0.9, which is going to lose right now. It's going to lose the points, and Afghanistan is going to match up with the points.
Mm.
But Afghanistan's run rate, I'm not sure. Let's see after this match, what will be the run rate for Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And so I think between the two, even if New Zealand could lose out, it's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They played well.
They started well.
But probably they were unlucky. And that's what happened with that. But, let's see. It's going to be interesting. What's going to be Afghanistan's run rate after that? After this match today, they are at 0.330, and they will have 10 points. So let's see what happens, and then we're going to see they will shuffle a little bit for the semi.
New Zealand will be blaming themselves for this one, just letting it slip through their hands. They've been in the top four for most of the entire, tournament, and to lose when it matters most, I wouldn't be able to forgive myself if I was a New Zealand player, because we had it in our hands, letting it slip. And of course, I believe that loss to Pakistan by the DLS method was just that final nail in the coffin, because that game really played a huge role, in the points for them.
Right. And also, yes, what do you think about the Angelo Matthews episode yesterday?
Oh, a lot of people have been saying that it's against the spirit of cricket. But I'm like, if something is written in black and white and it's a rule and followed, and also it just got me thinking about the entire World Cup, to go back and think, hey, did we not see some batsmen also just, overlapping or, just surpassing that 2 minutes that you're given to get it in position and get ready to face your first ball? Either the opposition team mates were not even aware that the rule applies for this one, or they were just being nice. But I have to applaud Bangladesh players for knowing the rules and wanting to appeal that one, and finally appealing it and just having Angela Matthews out. I don't understand what the lashout is about on, social media or whatever, where people say that it was a harsh thing to do. But if the rule is written, it has to be followed. So kudos to Bangladesh players for knowing the rules and for just wanting what is fair. They were well within their rights to just appeal for
But
that.
even there are a lot of instances when people have not appealed for the player being 2 minutes late, 1 minute late, 30 seconds late.
Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of people say, it goes against the spirit of the game.
But it's a rule.
It is a rule.
Yeah.
That you can't be late. That's. But it's not the game. I think the game is when the ball starts.
But the game has the rules. Every sporting code has a rule. Football has a rule. If something is offside, it's offside. Tennis has rules. Basketball has rules. So same with cricket. It can't be, it can't be seen as a bad thing or say it's not in the spirit of cricket, because a rule has to be followed. Every single sporting code has rules. So I don't know. Maybe people must just explain it like a 5-year-old and explain it to me. How is it out? How is it against the spirit of cricket? Then maybe I may have a change of perspective and see where they're coming from. But for now, I don't understand.
What I think a lot of people are saying is that being 30 seconds late, 15 seconds late, just because of something, equipment failure, uh, the other captain should have considered that okay, this has happened.
Yeah.
Maybe he did not see the strap, or maybe they were too competitive and then they said no. I think doing we just win this match, and but it might go down bad in history. Okay, so that's what I mean. You could win something in life, but if play around and still win it, then people know what's. So that's what the Sri Lankan players have been complaining about. They didn't have a handshake yesterday.
Yeah, which was very unsportsmanship like.
But the other thing, sorry to cut you guys, what I've noticed is that the other mistake they made, the Lankans, is that the one who managed to be taken off is stepped over the boundary too soon. He should have seen or noticed that the other teammate is not yet ready. Because as much as they say there are other times where they are late, right? But the fact that he hasn't stepped over, you can stroke going back, right? But you be giving signal to the other one and saying, you need to hurry up and come in before I step out. But the fact that his teammate had already gone out, that's when the clock had started ticking. And by the time he realized that my helmet isn't forward, it's too late because you're expected to be in there. Like what we had discussed in the afternoon. Could have checked after and over also. And then at least try to save yourself. You know you're a professional person, that cricket is all about the minutes, and you don't want to have those overrates or being penalized for being late. So people, if they really understand the playing conditions of these matches, they should, and time is always written right there, and how many overs, or if you're delaying as a bowler, like how much penalty you're going to be charged. It's all written right there, like what you're saying in black and white. But people don't understand the playing conditions, so they're just judging based on the emotions, and that they were willing to watch Angelo Matthews play, and they knew he was going to make the team win. If it was the last person, it wasn't going to matter much. But the fact that it's Angelo Matthews and he knows to be a well better, that's why they're just having that pain. But I understand them. But at the same time, like what you said, rules are rules, really.
Can I make an example? Nah? Coming back to your point of 15 minutes, 15 seconds, 20 seconds late.
Yeah.
Time is time. My analogy would be, imagine in a football match, the final of, let's say, a World Cup or whatever, and team Sri Lanka is losing, and Bangladesh is winning by 1. So it's 1-0. So they just need to score a goal to equalize and maybe go to extra time.
Yeah.
But the referee allows it to go overtime by 15 seconds, and they eventually score in the last 15 seconds, which was the referee's mistake, or that shouldn't have happened. So it was the very same thing. 15 seconds or 30 seconds late, it doesn't matter.
It reminds me what said, David, was like, either way, even if you're a senior, rules will not be changed for you. There are no special rules really
at all
for the senior teams or for a big team.
I'd like you to interject now, and 133 for 7, 26 overs. It's still going for Australia, but let's see if they're able to finish this now. Yeah, it's interesting.
They will be bowled out.
Let's see. All right, and
and they just need 159 runs from 23 24 overs, which the overs are still on their side. They just need to play the patient game. There's no rush, like what they were discussed. Charles and David was discussing that with 50 over game, it's not a quick game really. You just need to be patient, control yourself, make sure you score those runs in between. It's definitely you manage to get over there because they still got a whole lot of overs really. So there's no rush.
But do they also have the players to carry them through over?
The few they have, they just need to.
They're like 3 players left.
But they know that if we were the last people, but the last man standing, and if we need to give it our best, and we have that patience, and if we can score the runs carefully, sure. And I'm sure even if they to do the runs like the singles and the twos, manage to get to the end. Even if they lose, it won't be that big margin compared to them trying to hit the boundaries now. They'll all come out because they don't have that betting experience.
That is true. In wrapping things up, is there anything that you'd like to add to?
No, I'm just seeing the table, and after England versus Netherlands, there's Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So let's see. Even if New Zealand wins there, then they might gain another 2 points. Then after South Africa versus Afghanistan is going to be interesting match on Friday. And then Saturday would be Australia versus Bangladesh. Let's see. I think Australia would be the favorite. They will like to win that match for sure. Not
they will.
Two people from the subcontinent or 2 teams from the subcontinent.
Back to back even. Yeah, they don't like that.
Then again is England versus Pakistan. What do you think?
English versus Pakistan.
Yeah.
Pakistan after that win against New Zealand, they just want to continue to win. Let's see if they still stand a chance to win a spot to the semis. I think they still very much in it because if they win that match, they're 10 points, and that could move them, depending on the net run rate, that could also move them to number 4 on the log table. So Afghanistan and Pakistan are still very much in it. Australia and New Zealand as well. So it's going to be interesting to see who finally occupies number 3 and number 4.
Then India will
we already know how that one is ending. And it's interesting that we've almost come to the last moments of the tournament because the semis are next week.
Wow.
How mind blowing. So the final is next week actually. Right?
Flying.
Time is flying. So that's not next week.
And yeah, that's next week. This Sunday, next Sunday, finals. Yeah.
Oh, wow. We are at the end of the tournament, actually. It is next week, Sunday.
You are still not sure who's going to occupy the third
The
and
last
fourth
two
position.
spots. And I think it's going to be interesting in the remaining.
I feel like the teams are already feeling that heat right now. It's becoming hotter by the day. The more games they play, they're knowing, okay, one left. Now it's the do or die moment.
Mm.
And I feel now we're going to see real cricket. How long it was cricket, yes, but now it's just going to be more exciting.
Yeah, and that's where we wrap it up for this evening's watch along. We'll come back tomorrow morning to give you a post match of how that match between Australia, that match between Afghanistan and Australia ends in today's match between the clash of the two teams, of course, seeking that spot for the semi-final number 3 and number 4.
Thank you.
Thank